my main goal at the moment is to enter the competitive world of wheelchair racing. And for that, I hope that I'll be able to represent Gibraltar in some sense, either the Commonwealth Games or other international tournaments, or hopefully in the future, the Paralympics themselves. It's something I thought about it for a while. It's a sport I wanted to do, I wanted to get into. And once I got into it and I realised that I did have the potential there, I thought, I can't do it under UK. It has to be something for Gibraltar. It has to be something that I can show the people of Gibraltar that a disability isn't always a negative factor. It's something that you can use to your advantage.
So what's the next step? I believe you're raising funds for a special chair?
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, I opened up a GoFundMe page to fund a bespoke custom racing wheelchair. And within about 2 weeks, I'd actually managed to raise my goal of £5,000. But I'm still continuing the fundraiser because the chair itself may surpass £5,000 depending on how everything goes. But on top of that, there's specialist equipment, there's spare parts, competition entry fees, travel costs. You know, the cost doesn't end with the wheelchair.
You're currently undertaking your second degree. After completing your first degree, it was during that time that you discovered the world of sports.
Initially I went to Northampton University to study psychology and counselling, and it was during that time I discovered wheelchair basketball, and I absolutely fell in love with the sport. I played it throughout the 3 years of university, and I eventually joined the local team. In my final year of university, we had a game against Worcester University, and while I was there, I was just searching through their website. I found my current course, Sports Coaching Science with Disability Sport, and that must have been fate. That was my next step in life. Yeah, I was diagnosed with something called cerebral palsy. Basically, it's brain damage from birth that affects the tension of my muscles. So it affects my legs personally, but you can have it affecting any variety of limbs depending on, exactly the damage caused. But basically, it just leads to muscle tension, occasional twitches and spasms, and just coordination difficulties.
How was growing up in Gibraltar with your condition? Did you find there were many limitations, and how has it developed over your lifetime?
Growing up in Gibraltar has had its pros and cons. Like, the small size of it was very beneficial because it was easier to get from point A to point B, but the heat and at the time the lack of legislation meant certain things could be more difficult, like there'd be stairs to a place with no lift, whereas now that's starting to change because of the new legislation that's being brought in.
And recently the Agness Law came in, the Disability Act, which seeks improvements to improve the lives of people with certain disabilities.
Agness's Law, it's a great thing. I love that it's finally been brought in. It's something that's been talked about for about 4 or 5 years, and it's been back and forth from the public eye. But now that it's finally out, it's something that I'm really hoping will change Gibraltar for the better. But it is the first of many steps. But for now, it's an amazing first step in the right direction.